Namaste students. I am Jivan Dr. Aziz Ahmed Khan from Department of Food and Biotechnology, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science, Jyoti Vidyapith Women's University, Jaipur. My subject name is Downstream Processing. So this subject belongs to the BSc Biotech 6th semester. And in the previous video, I have discussed about downstream processing and various stages of the downstream processing, the principle of isolation of pure culture and cell disruption methods. Now I'm going to discuss about the topic pre-treatment studies. What are the treatment pre-treatment studies? So first we need to understand what is the pre-treatment. If we are going to conduct any kind of downstream processing, then it is necessary that everything will be treated first, and for that we need some preparations, and some instruments are required for that, these preparations. So those are known as the pre-treatment studies. So in the pre-treatment studies we will discuss about some techniques in next videos, but in this video I'm going to discuss about the pre-treatment. What is the pre-treatment of the broth to facilitate clarification? Pre-treatment or conditioning of the broth by changing the biomass particle size, fermentation, liquor viscosity, and the interaction between the biomass particle is sometimes required to ensure efficient solid-liquid separation. So, what is the actual meaning of the pre-treatment? Pre-treatment is meant by we are changing, we are making some changes in the product so that it will be processed easily. The product is changed, the size is changed, the property is changed, so that when we change the property of that particular product, the product will be very good conditions, so that the processing, downstream processing will be easy for a particular kind of product. So the biomass particle is reduced. So this is achieved by using a filter aid, okay, filter aid in both, and some pre-coating in the filter medium. We can use some filter aid and some filter medium can be used, so that the particle size can be reduced. Filter aids are the incompressible discrete particles. These are some incompressible discrete particle which are composed of the highly permeable uh, matrix ranging between the 2 to 20 micrometer, and they should be inert to the broth being treated. The broth which is being treated, and this broth should be passed through this particular uh, mm, medium, this particular filter medium. The most common use are diatomite. Diatomite is the skeletal remain of the aquatic plants. The perlite is also an example, and inactive carbon is also an example. Some methods are also applied in retreatment. Agglomeration of individual cells of the cell particles into large blocks which are easily separated at low centrifugal force is achieved by the adding flocculating agents. So if we can add some flocculating agent so that the particles will come to each other, and when they are having come to each other, and then we can follow some other techniques such as the centrifugation can be completed, can be conducted after flocculation. The examples include the polycations. Polycations are the examples. which are either cellulosic or based on synthetic polymers. Some inorganic salts are also the examples, uh, or some mineral hydrocolloids are also some examples of these. Cationic filters and adds also reduce the load of the pyrogen. They also reduce the nucleic acid and acidic protein which normally fall the chromatography column. So these are the pre-treatment studies for the column chromatography also, so that they will reduce the load of the pyrogen, the loss of the nucleic acid, the load of the protein, acidic protein, so that the for purification method of the column chromatography will be good, and the processing of the column chromatography will be reduced, because if these um, impurities are present in the column chromatography, then at the time of the purification we need to process them more. We need to use more processing for a particular kind of product. So these pre-treatment studies by the acclimatization and filtering, uh, filtering by the filtering, flocculation, and centrifugation will reduce the processing in the purification step. We can also take some examples here for liquid. There are some pre-treatment studies such as the heating. Heating is also pre-treatment studies. Dilution with solvent is also pre-treatment studies, and degassing. Degassing means removal of some gases from the product is also a pre-treatment studies. So these three things, diluting, heating, and the degassing, are used for the pre-treatment of the liquid components. We can also use some pre-treatment studies for the solid particles also. So what are the pre-treatment studies for the solid particles? Into the coagulation by chemical additives, okay, flocculation by shear forces, and the aging. Three things: first, coagulation, flocculation, and the aging. These are used for the pre-treatment of the solid particles. Now, some solid concentration. For the solid concentration, we increase the concentration with a thickener. To increase the solid concentration, we increase the concentration with a thickener, and then classify to eliminate some files such as the filter or body fields. Okay, so we need some thickness so that the particular concentration of solid will be increased. Next is the solid liquid interaction. This can also be conducted. We the treatment which is conducted is here heat treatment or the pressure cooking. For the solid liquid interaction increasing the solid liquid interaction, we need heat treatment and the pressure cooking. Can also conduct the freeze and thawing. Can also use ultrasonic vibrations so that the solid and liquid will come to each other. Similarly, we can also use some ionizing radiation, which will lead to the uh, solid and liquid concentration interaction in high amount. First, we discuss about the treatment of the liquid. Treatment of the liquid. Treatment to change its viscosity. We conduct the pre-treatment studies in the liquid to change its viscosity. So first is for the changing in viscosity, we can raise the temperature. We can dilute it with less viscous liquid. There are some drawback of change in the viscosity by diluting, that increasing some slurry volume and additional process may also be added by dilution. The next is gas degassing. How degassing is conducted? liquid are passed through the filter. Okay, and this will decrease the pressure. Then bubbles are formed in the cake, which are indicating that degassing has been conducted, which will allow the molecules to come together. Next, that we can conduct for the solid is coagulation and the fluctuation. These are two studies. Coagulation is a very fine particle of colloidal salts will adhere together to each other as a consequence of the Brownian motion. Means the particle will come together. That is the coagulation. Now flocculation. Flocculation is the formation of open aggregates which are formed by the coagulations through bridging action of the polymers between separation particles. This technique is to agglomerate the particles to improve the separation of the increased particle size. The solution can be classified into a lyophilic. Okay, lyophilic means they are hydrophilic in nature. Okay, they are hydrophilic in nature, and lyophobic means the compounds are hydrophobic. The solvents are hydrophobic in nature. So two kinds of solvents can be used: hydrophilic and hydrophobic. The formation of large particles is also studied. The small particles and large particles will come to each other. The small will be in one portion and the large in the one portion, so that we can separate large particle and we can separate the small particles separately. So these small particles will uh, take will come together, and the large particle will come together, and this is the strategy to separate the particles. Some all particles carry a residue charge, and they attracting forces, the van der Waals force and the London forces. This is conducted to reduce the charge particle very close to each other. So this is also a study in the pre-treatment studies for the reducing the downstream processing, to reduce the steps in the downstream processing. So these are the pre-treatment studies. I hope the students will better understand all these things. Uh, so what kind of questions which can be asked? And the question which can arise here that explain the pre-treatment studies and the role of the pre-treatment studies in the downstream processing. So here various examinations have become given. It can also be asked that explain the pre-treatment studies of the liquid and explain pre-treatment studies of the solids. So I hope that these all are explained here. So my lecture is over here. Thank you very much.